Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have a confession from someone who talks about his own cousin's involvement with the pastor and what he saw around his cousin and the pastor. In this video, he reveals to us about the sexuality of his cousin and what goes on between his cousin who happens to be a singer in the pastor's church and the pastor. I would like to stress this video is not to suggest that all pastors are involved in what he shares with us. This is an eye-opener for us all, who meet and deal with pastors, to be aware of the secret life some of them have. Because you might not know who truly is doing the devil's work. To understand this whole thing and get to know the truth behind all that he wants to share, let us go and listen to him. And please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video so that others can listen to it.
Brother, I greet you with much respect. I wanted to have this moment to discuss with you something that I experienced some time ago when I had the chance to be part of a company of pastors. 4 days after this thing happened, I couldn't fathom nor sleep, all because of what I witnessed with my own eyes. Sometimes we do not have the courage to accept certain things when we get to hear of them. Especially when it is about the people we so much respect and adore. That is certainly human nature, and I understand that very well. Human beings are naturally will act in a certain way when something bad is said about the persons or people that they have a soft spot for. But if we come to a point of realization that everyone is human and can make or do things that goes contrary to what you think of them. So when it happens that way, we should know how to deal with it. When we talk about same-sex marriage or affairs, I know that the Bible frowns heavily on it. Now, my encounter did happen when I moved into this house. My rent was due, and needed to move out of the house I was staying in. It wasn't like the landlord wanted me out, but I myself wanted a new location. I guess I can say that I wanted to explore a new area. I made that decision to move away from my area when my rent was due. So when I moved into this house that day, this guy who would later become like a brother to me was home, and so he helped me took my things out of the car that carried my belongings. So, after helping me with my things, he introduced himself to me as Michael, and that was the beginning of our friendship. Because I didn't know anyone from this area, it was only me and Michael who will go out sometimes to chill. He is someone who does not take alcoholic beverages. And so, anytime we went out, it was pure fruit drinks and food, just that stuff is what he was into. Michael looked different than though. He appeared to have this feminine touch and appearance to himself. He always did have this feminine trait in him, but he never ceased to exhibit happiness anywhere he was. The thing is that, I never knew he was a singer in his church. This is because we never had any discussion that he brought up church stuff whenever he was around me. Until he one day came home and told me about a program that was having his church which he wanted me to go with him. He told me that he had a surprise for me, and that he was going to show me when we are in the church. He had become close, so there was no way I was going to say no to him. So, the day came and we went to Tree Church. It was a musical program that was happening in his church. Whilst the program was ongoing, he got up and told me that he will be right back with me. Before I knew it, his name was called and he was on stage. That day was the day I got to believe that, when those who do have these feminine traits in them decided to sing, there is no way you can match them. He did perform in a way that I never imagined that he could. This was when after the day, he invited me to be a part of their church. I agreed at first, not because I really had any idea of going to church. But then, I accepted to be a part of the church because of him. He made me fall in love with going to church because of how he ministers, anytime he mounts the stage or the altar to do so. This is how I became a member of their church. And one thing I want to establish is that, what I am about to talk, has to do with my friend Michael and also our pastor. And me going to the church, eventually I became close to the pastor's team who always seek to make sure of what happens in the church. You see, in our church we had administrators and all the other departments. But there was this special group who the pastor had so much faith and trust in. The main duty of this group of people is to handle the pastor's image and how he appears before the general public. If it were to be in the corporate world, I would say we were in charge of the image of the brand or company. Over the years of being with Michael in the house and in the church, I saw Michael to be a very straight person. What I mean by this is that I never saw him to be someone who likes the same gender. This is because he was seen in the company of both men and women anytime. So I did presume that there was this lady who always did come to his room all the time. So I felt she was his girlfriend, and couldn't be someone who will actually be interested in his own gender in any way. I remember when the two of us had gone to this program. It was a birthday of one of my friends. And I invited him to come and do a little covers for my friend. When he came, he was alone. At least I thought he would be coming with this lady that I thought was his girlfriend. So I asked him why his girlfriend didn't come. He laughed and laughed. He told me that there is something that he has been wanting to tell me but didn't know how I was going to take it. And that is why he has refused to share that information with me. After some back and forth, he finally gathered the courage and told me about his secret. But this revelation was not done at the birthday party. He waited till we were at home that he told me that he was only attracted to men and not women. I was totally confused as to what then the lady I was talking about was always doing in his room. That was when he told me that that lady is his best friend. And there is nothing romantically between them aside being friends. At first I didn't believe anything that he told me about he and the lady. So, he called the lady and their communication or conversation on the phone confirmed what he was talking about. He told me that reason why he wanted to let me in on his secret is because we have become so close that he felt there was no need to hide anything from me anymore. And the fact that he feels there is no way I will talk about him with anyone out there. What I got to know didn't change anything between the two of us. We still continue to be friends regardless of that. You see, I didn't know that Michael wanted me to also join in on the kind of life they were living. He began talking to me about the kind of benefits and opportunities that comes with being a part of that community or people. This idea of him trying to convince me to be a part is what made me ask about the people he does these things with. He honestly didn't mention anyone to me. But what he said was that there are things in this life that is more than what I know or presented to me. This was when I asked whether the pastor knows about such part of his life or not. Reason why I asked that question was because I was wondering why, if he is such a person, then why does the pastor allow him to sing to the congregation? Because as far as I know, Christianity frowns on such things. And he being one and then always being the one to sing or minister to the people was what baffled me. He then told me that there is nothing wrong with him singing whilst he does what he does. Because it is not his fault that he does not feel the way he feels for his gender. And even went ahead to tell me that the Bible talks about whatever God created, he knew it was good. And besides, about the things said concerning people who are involved in such acts, he told me that if he or the people involved in it do not go ahead to do that, then there will be no one to fulfill what the Bible said will happen. Honestly, I was shocked to hear that from him. But like I said, all that information didn't change anything. He was such a very nice and gentle person. Remember I told you that he had wanted to lure me into that kind of lifestyle. He decided to take me to some of their parties. He was bent on making me become one of them. But then he also didn't know that I really wanted to know what really goes on or how they gather and behave. I came to a conclusion about it and I told him he should give me time to think about what he has been telling me. So in order to convince me, that is why he decided to take me to one of their parties. My brother, it was such a thing for you to see with your own eyes. I was shocked to the core of my bone the things, and the people I saw there at the party. Let me start from when we first got to the place. This party was happening inside a hotel somewhere in Spintex here in Accra. Brother, I never knew there was such a thing or lifestyle when we talk about these people. Michael took time to explain to me anything I asked. He had already told me that, when I am asked who I am there with, I should just tell is him. So when we got there, one or two people who he greeted, he introduced me to them as his woman. And warned them not to try to come close to me. Honestly, it sounded some way to me. But I smiled through it all. During the time that people were having fun, drinking and dancing and all of the things that goes on in a party was happening there. One thing I began to notice was that there was this guy who would come and then whisper something into someone's ears, and then he would go back inside the hotel. This time, it was around 11 p.m. thereabout. Then when he goes up there inside the hotel building, after some few minutes someone will come from the building and then enter a car with the person this guy came to talk to. It was happening like that, and so I asked Michael. He told me that the question the guy came to ask them was, are you a male or female? And depending on the answer you give him, he will link you up with someone for the night or whatever time you guys want. This he does, you will have to give him his commission after you are done with whatever they went to do. It was more like hookup, but this one, it is in a controlled environment. The people who were carrying these other ones in their cars were not driving small cars. The kind of top-tier cars they were driving was beyond words here in Ghana. We were there and around about 12 getting to 1 day about, a car came in and parked. This was a black Mercedes-Benz. Then I saw someone who looked just like our pastor stepped out of the car. I called on Michael and asked what our pastor was doing there. He, seeing that I was shocked to see him there, tried to play a smart one on me. He said that there is this place in the hotel that some pastors normally come and meet, but he does not know what really they do there. It didn't sound right with me. So I asked, has Michael seen pastor coming to that meeting he is talking about before? He looked at me for some time without saying anything. He then told me that pastor had said something like that to him before, but because Michael comes to the place to do his own thing, didn't let pastor know that he knows the place. He knew from his answers and my face that I was not buying the things that he was saying. So he quickly said we should forget about him and then enjoy the night. I went back to the conversations that I was having with one guy who was really giving insight into how he was able to take his business to a whole new level. So in the middle of our conversation, the guy who I said comes and asked whether you are a male or female came to one guy who was seated all alone and engaged him in a very short conversation. After which the guy opened our pastor's car for this guy who was seated alone to enter the car. He went back inside the hotel. Within some few minutes, our pastor came out and then also entered his car and drove off with the guy. At this point, I was totally shocked. Michael, who also saw that, came to me and said we should go back home. What he didn't know is that I had asked the guys I was having the conversation with about the owner of the car. And straight away, the guy mentions our pastor's name as the owner of the car. He went ahead to ask me if I wanted him to hook me up with him. I told him no. Just that, his car is just my kind of car. Apparently, Michael was way deep into the thing that all the guys I was talking to really respected him. When I told them I was with Michael, they were like, then I have a big fish. I am lucky, because he will link me to the big guys. When we were coming home, I was so down. I didn't say anything to Michael. Whatever he asked me, I would always answer with my head. We got home and I went straight into my room without saying anything to him. Honestly, I was broken. How can a pastor be a part of this group of people? That night I couldn't sleep. I avoided Michael for almost a week. Then one morning he knocked on my door. I opened and it was him. He said he has something to discuss with me. During the conversation, he said he really likes me and would have loved for me to be his partner. But even if I won't accept that, he does not want to lose me as a friend. I told him I can only be his friend again or even come close to him if I comes clean with me. This was what pushed him to tell me that, indeed, our pastor is also a part of the group. And it was even the pastor who introduced him into that lifestyle. And then after about a while, he linked him Michael to another pastor friend who bought him his first car. And he told me that the pastors do comes to that particular hotel in Spintex to organize such parties. During the parties, you will bring your partner who is a male and they will have turns with them. He said pastor took him to the party one time, and he never went there again. Because he couldn't handle what they do over there. You see, brother, most of these people that are married, according to what Michael told me, they married so that people will not start to ask questions about their sexuality. So the wives are something like a trophy wife. Because the real deal goes on behind the scenes, where people are not watching. I stopped going to the church, but Michael remained my friend because he respected my decision. I have moved away from the place, but once in a while we do talk on phone. So this is what I have also seen and witnessed happen. People are not what they claim they are. And also they are not what we think they are. Just focus on yourself as a person and try to build your own life than looking up to someone that you don't know what he or she does in secret. Thank you, brother. I hope this opens someone's eyes out there.
Thank you. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. Just like we always do in this house, please let us also hear from you, our beautiful family members. Let's listen to your views and concerns and comments in the comment section. Yes, just as we are here to share with ourselves what is going on out there, we do bring these conversations with you, our family members, to help their innocent brothers and sisters to realize what is happening out there, that they do not have any idea about, so that they can make their own decisions going forward in their day-to-day activities. I like it when he said that, people are not what they claim they are. And also they are not what we think they are. Just focus on yourself as a person and try to build your own life than looking up to someone that you don't know what he or she does in secret. Please, I will advise that, just know yourself and your Savior and follow him diligently in order to be one with him. Pastors are there to guide us to the truth, but then, the more you yourself do your search in the word of the Lord, when a pastor is not of the Lord, you will know immediately. Be wise, my brothers and sisters. Some wolves are in sheep clothing deceiving so many people. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.